Hi YouTube, this is Mark from Abilities, and today I want to talk about how to modify a quad cuff to give you more wrist support. So I was thinking about this the other day and I said, you know, I want to do a video on the wrist because we use our wrist so much, and you know, for a newly injured individual, you may not realize this yet, but you know, when you're doing transfers and dressing and eating and all these things, I mean, we're constantly using our wrists, you know, depending on your level of injury, obviously. But let's just use myself as an example. You know, I'm constantly using my tenodesis, as well as, you know, overextending my wrists. I mean, I use my tenodesis to grab into my rim to give myself support, to pick stuff up off the ground. You know, I might use my wrist on the back of my armrest to go ahead and lift as well. So I'm using them a lot in that fashion, and you can see how raw this this gets dry and blistered. I use my hands for a lot of things, and the thought of hurting my wrist is scary. So I thought, you know, there should be something out there to kind of buff up how we use our wrist to make it a little bit safer, especially if we're going to be doing a lot of these, you know, transfers and things like that. I'm going to focus on transfers because the way that I transfer, I kind of rotate my arm backwards as I'm pivoting, and I put a lot of pressure on it. So last year, I want to say, you know, maybe like 9 months ago, I had done exactly that. I overextended my wrist on a transfer. I put too much weight on it, and I pulled something or I sprained it, and it hurt immensely. It did not heal for probably 1 to 2 months. So you can imagine how this affected a lot of my daily routine. And I didn't realize it at the time, you know, that I would use my wrist in such a way and that this was a big deal. So my cousin, who's a chiropractor, he went and he made a little cast for me. He heated up this material, formed it, and then it got hard to where I couldn't, you know, move it. So he said to me, he said, well, what's the point where you break your wrist where it starts to hurt? So I went to, you know, like maybe here. And so he made it so that I couldn't break my wrist more than this. And so that, you know, that made me think, well, a lot of the gloves that we have out there, they don't have protection on this side. So there's gloves out there that have this support, but it's going to be on this side, and that's going to be more for, you know, those that have carpal tunnel. So you're going to wear these at night to where your wrist isn't bending down like this so that it pinches the nerve, is what I understand. But I didn't find anything out there that really puts support here. So if you think about it, when you're putting pressure on your wrist, it would be nice to know that you're not going to overextend. So my cousin had made me that splint. I put it inside one of these quad cuffs, and it worked great. I was able to really, you know, do my transfer and not hurt myself. And so that's when I said, okay, there's got to be a way to make these gloves better, you know, with the existing glove. So what I did was I went out and I found, you know, I went to one of these plastic companies. And I thought, what can I put in the glove that would allow it to flex but not flex too much? So what I came up with was polyethylene. Polyethylene is a plastic, and it does not break, according to what they tell me. So you can put this under extreme pressure, and it's not going to break. It does hold some of the bend, which you may want to bend back. So I'm squinting because I want it to break, but you can't break it. That's what they tell me. Now, this is a thinner version. So what I did was I had them cut, you know, different thicknesses. Like this is really thick, to the point where, depending on the individual, if they have really flimsy wrists or they're, you know, a bigger person that has really strong wrists, they might need something, especially if they have a lot of weight. They want something a little bit stronger, more robust. So I went and got 3 different kinds. Now, I took one of these hatch gloves. So I guess you can call this my quad mod number 1. Basically, you take this glove, and I had a seamstress essentially sew a little pocket here. This pocket opens like so. So what I did was I cut the polyethylene. I'll show you. Just bend this back into shape. I cut the polyethylene to the size of the pocket, so that way what you can do is you can take this. Let me lay it down, it'll be a little bit easier to get started. So you can see I can kind of put it in there. I'm just going to tuck it in here. Okay? Now, with this in here, this part, once folded over, is going to be on the top part of my hand. And by folding it over, by just mere folding it over, it's going to hold it in place. So that's what I did. I put this on like so. You got this part. Now because it's stiff, it's a little bit harder to get over. So what I do is I just kind of bite this. You know, maybe do it one time and then adjust it a little bit and then do it again. Okay, so you can see I got one on there. There's two. Now this creates a really stiff surface. You might want to, you know, you might see that there's some pressure here on your wrist when you're doing it or pushing down. So that's something you want to pay attention to. If there's too much pressure on this part of your wrist, then maybe, you know, you want to get a bigger glove, maybe make it longer. But this actually worked for me, you know, in having the ability to not have your wrist break. Now, that's for transferring, but think about when you push. You know, if you're a high-level quad and you don't have the triceps, a lot of us, we hunch over and we push like this, right? Get our elbows out, hands bent, wrists are breaking like this. You can see it from a mile away. This will not let your wrist break, right? So when you're pushing, it's going to keep it a little more straight, and then you can just focus on keeping your arms in and just having your shoulders out. So there's a few things that you can do, but this is a relatively affordable option. I mean, it might cost $10 to have them sew in that little pocket. You know, you can go to a plastic store and they're going to have bins of scraps of this. They may just charge you to cut it. They may not, depending how, you know, if they're having a good day, they might cut it for free. But you can cut this with scissors. At least the two sizes that I got, the thick one, you might need, you know, something thicker. You might have like a pair of, I don't know, something in your tool chest that could cut right through it. But this is, you can cut it with a pair of sharp scissors, like some sewing scissors. So I just wanted to give you that option out there. You know, if you're having trouble with your wrists or you just want to be preventative, which I think is great, you can buy the better quad cuff, which would work. But if you need something more, you know, go ahead and try this. I think this is a good option that would work, and it's easy to do. So you can just get that little sleeve sewn in there, put that little piece, and if this is, you know, again, if this is too flimsy, go ahead and put the thicker piece, or vice versa. You could probably find one that's thinner than the one that I got on the lower level. But the idea is there's something here that you can work with. So I just wanted to show you that. It worked for me. It may not work for you, but it's something that you can do for, you know, relatively, you know, to be relatively affordable. But yeah, if you have a better option out there, or maybe you found something that has the metal and it's works here for you, let me know. I mean, this is all about sharing and finding out about new products and trying them out. You know, I want everyone to be able to do what they want to do and live their life, and that's the whole idea here. So if you haven't done so already, please go ahead and subscribe to the Abilities channel. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter, as well as Facebook. If you go to my webpage, www.abilities.com, you'll find all those social media icons at the bottom. And yeah, thanks for joining me. Like I said, any questions or you have some feedback to give, leave it below in the comments, and I look forward to the next video. So thank you for taking the time, and please keep working hard towards your independence. Thanks for joining me.